Hey guys, and welcome back. So today we're going to be taking a look at Azure Data Share. So what is Azure Data Share? Well, Azure Data Share is a service that is going to allow you to easily share data sets with your external vendors, partners, or customers. When you think about how these type of activities are usually done today, maybe you have a organization that is going to utilize something such as email to share out Word documents, spreadsheets, maybe image files, audio files, or maybe they will utilize a FTP site, allowing them to easily upload their data sources to that FTP site and then allow their end users to download the actual data. Or they may just give their end users access to their actual data through API calls. Well, Azure Data Share is going to provide you with a new option so that you can easily manage and maintain control and visibility of the data sets that you choose to share out. You can also choose to configure your own acceptance terms that your end users would then have to accept first before they can actually use your actual data. So let's take a quick look here at how Azure Data Share works. So if we scroll down here on the document a little bit, we're going to get this architecture here that kind of walks you through how this actually works. So on the top left side here, you are going to have a data provider here. And the very first thing that they're going to do here is they're going to create what is called a data share. The data share is basically just going to be a logical container to house all of the different data storage that you intend to share out. So once you make your actual share, then you can start to add things to it, such as a Azure SQL database maybe. Maybe it's going to be Azure Blob storage, data lake storage, SQL pools. Whatever the case may be, you can kind of pick and choose your different resource types and then add them here. The next step that you would actually do is you're going to need to define whether or not you want to provide a snapshot of your actual data, or you want to allow your end users to have in-place access to that actual data. Now, most of the data store types will work with snapshots here, but at the time of this recording, the only option that is going to allow you to do the in-place access option here is going to be Azure Data Explorer. So once you actually choose your refresh type here, then the last thing that you can actually do is you can configure any type of acceptance terms right here that you want your end users to agree to first before they can actually utilize your actual data. Once that is all done, then you're going to send out a invitation to your end users. Once the end user receives that invitation, they are going to need to start to map your data sources to a target store in their environment. So if we scroll down here really quick and we click on this link right here to see the different data store options here, and then in the first chart right here, you're going to see that all of the different data store types here are going to allow you to share your data out using a full snapshot. Now, only the object stores right here, such as data lake storage or blob storage, is going to allow you to do a incremental snapshot. And then we can also see that Azure Data Explorer is going to be the only option here to allow you to do in-place sharing. And then if we scroll down just a little bit more, we kind of see this matrix here that is going to give you details about the data store that you choose to share out and what data store your end users can use to store that actual data. So if you were to share out something from a Azure SQL database, then your end users can actually choose to load that actual data into their own Azure SQL database, or they could actually load that data into data lake storage, blob storage, Synapse. They're going to have options here for how they want to choose to load that actual data. Now, if we jump back over here really quick and we'll go back to our architecture here. So once the consumer chooses how they want to map their actual data stores, then the last thing that they would have to do is just to accept the refresh schedule that has been set by the data provider. So if they are going to be utilizing one of the data stores that works with snapshots, then they can choose whether they want to do a hourly snapshot or daily snapshot. And then if they are utilizing Azure Data Explorer, they can choose to move forward with doing the in-place access. So with this particular option, there would be no data that is copied over from the source data stores. Instead, the target store would create a symbolic link to the actual source store here. So let's go out now to the Azure portal and let's take a quick look at what this looks like in action. So I'm logged in now to the portal here, and I'm just going to search here for data share. And then I'm just going to make myself a new data share here. So I'm going to choose a resource group. I'm going to choose my region. And then let me just call this Adventure Works Data Share. And then I will create this new data share. Now that that is done, I will go into my data share. And the first thing that I'm going to do here is I'm going to click on Start Sharing Your Data. And then I'm going to create myself a new share right here. And we'll just call this My First Data Share. We're going to choose the share type right here. So we are going to go with the snapshot type. And then I'm just going to put in a description here. Once again, I'll say my first data share. And then this is where you are going to set your terms of usage here. So I'll just say, these are my terms of usage. Then I will click on continue here. And then this is where we can start to add in our data sets here. So let's just add in some data sets here. And the first thing that I want to add in is from a Azure SQL database. So I'll just choose that here. I'm going to choose my resource group where my database is. And then I will choose my server for it. And then we're going to get a message here that just says that we need to create a new user that Azure Data Share can use. And we need to ensure that that particular user is going to have read and write access to the actual data. So I will just use this little checkbox here to allow it to run the script for me. Then I'll click on next here. And then I will choose my database, tables. And then I just want to share out my customer table and the customer address table. I'll choose those two and then click next. And then I will add in those two data sets. And then I want to add in one more data set here that is going to come from a Gen 2 Lake Storage account here. So I'll just choose that. Then once again, I'm going to choose my resource group where my storage account is. And then I'll choose that storage account. And then I have a container here for products and then one file here, which I want to add to my share. So I will add that to my data set. And then once all data sets have been added here, then I'm going to go over to the recipients and I'm going to add in a new recipient here. And this is who I want to actually share my data with. So I will just add in an address here. I'm going to set this share to actually expire on the 1st of next month. Then I will click continue. And for my schedule, I'm just going to leave this as is for right now, no changes here. And then I will go ahead and create my new share. So at this point, it's going to create for me my first data share and it's going to send out a invitation link for me to my end user. So let's take a look at what things would look like now for the end user. So for that, I'm just going to switch browsers here really quick. If I check my email here for my end user, I can see that we now have a invitation here for me to receive my first data share. So I will click on the view invitation link. It's going to take me into the Azure portal. And from here, I can see my invitation here. So we can see from here who it was sent by, the company name and the status as well. So I'll click on this link and I am going to choose my data share account that I actually want to load this into. So since I don't have an account for it yet, I'm going to go ahead and create one. So let me just call it my new share account. I'll choose my resource group and my region. I will go with region here in Texas, and I will create this. And then once that is created now, I can choose to accept it. Oh, and one more thing here. We see that we have our usage terms listed right here. So we just have to choose to agree with these actual terms here. And then I can accept the data share and then start to configure things here. So the next thing that I'm going to need to do here is I'm going to need to map the data sources to targets in my environment here. So I'm going to come over here to the datasets tab, and I want to choose to map these two database tables here first. So I'll just click on these two checkboxes here and then click on the map to target here. So for the data type here, you can kind of pick and choose where you would like to store this data. So for my use cases, I will just choose Azure SQL Database. I will choose my sub for it. Then I'll choose my actual resource group, my SQL Server, and then my database, customer DB. And then at this point, I also need to make sure that I have a new user here that has both read and write access to my database. And once again, I will allow Data Share to actually run this script. Then I'll click on next here. And then at this point, if you would like to rename your tables right here, you can do so, but I will just leave these tables as is and then click on the map to target button here. All right. And now we see that my two tables right here have both been mapped. So now I'm just going to click on products here and click on map to target once again. And I'm going to land this into ADLS Gen 2. I'll pick my subscription, my resource group, storage account, and then I'm just going to choose a path. Oops, I'll just choose this. And then I'm going to map this to the target as well. All right, so now my resources here have all been mapped. So what I'm going to do now is I am going to kick off a new snapshot here so that I can start to receive my actual data. So we'll give this just a brief moment here while this runs. I'll come over here really quick to the history tab so that we can kind of monitor things here a little bit. All right, so it looks like everything went well here. So now if I was to go out to my resource group once again, and then I can go look into my database here. I will just launch the query editor tool here, expand the tables here, and I can see my two tables have both been copied over here. So just to make sure, I can see all of the data is here in each of these two tables. And then if I go back into my storage account, I can also see the products data here has also been replicated over. And here is my data here. All right, guys, well, we just took a quick look at Azure Data Share. So this is just a quick way for you to share out data sets with external partners, vendors, or customers. So this is a great option for when you need to maintain the control and visibility to your data sets. I appreciate you guys watching today. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to my channel. Until next time, guys, peace.